Josh. She's the lady in the booth.
We're from Planned Parenthood. Yeah. Now it's
No. I'm like him.
yeah, it is. So yeah, it's yeah, when you film things and maybe show things, Facebook, Africans anywhere. I doubt that. Wait, oh my gosh, why would you do that? How are you? I want to see Hillary win.
Let me get my Hillary.
I want to introduce our next state representative who is working her heart out every day to fill what is going to be a really difficult seat to fill with Debbie Phillips in the 94th District, Sarah Grace.
It's incredible to have such a full house that we have to weave our way through the crowd. It's great to be at this office opening here in Athens. The work that we all do here is going to be some of the most important work that we could do to ensure a win for all of us in November. I'm honored to say that I know most of you here, but for those of you who don't know me, my name is Sarah Grace, and I'm running for the 94th District of the Ohio House of Representatives. Yay! I entered this race because I'm the mother of 4 wonderful children, and I believe that all children deserve a high-quality education no matter where they live. And I believe that our local public schools need to be fully and fairly funded. I'm running because as a cancer survivor, I know how vitally important it is that everyone has access to health care. And in a region that has just been devastated and is continuing to suffer from addiction, that access to health care has to include access to addiction services and counseling for mental illnesses. Yes. I want to be your state representative because having lived in Athens County with my husband for nearly 20 years, I have seen the impact on families who could not stay here because they were unable to find a job. And I understand how important it is to build our infrastructure so that we can develop, maintain quality, good-paying jobs. All right. Enough about me. It will be because of all of us working together, putting in long hours, making phone calls, knocking on doors, even in the heat. It's been fun. I know you guys have been out doing this, registering voters, helping out here at the office, that we're going to win this race for Ohio, and we're also going to deliver the White House for the only person in the country who will be a champion for working families, and that's Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton has devoted her life to service to others. She's been dedicated to helping working families and children for decades, and now she's proposing a specific economic plan that will help the working families. Her plan will be the largest investment in good-paying jobs since World War II. Her plan would make college tuition free for the middle class and debt-free for all Americans. She will make sure that the wealthy pay their fair share in taxes. Yesterday in Cleveland, Hillary Clinton laid out her plan for tax fairness, and it demonstrated her clear vision for an economy that works for the middle-class families here in Athens, across Ohio, and across the country. Her opponent, Donald Trump, only cares about Donald Trump. He wants to give tax breaks to the wealthy. The Trump loophole gives millionaires and billionaires a backdoor tax cut that lets them pay less than half of the current tax rate on a significant portion of their income. It's absolutely outrageous. We know, I don't know when the Republicans are going to learn, trickle-down economics doesn't work. While we're on the topic of taxes, does anyone have a theory why Donald Trump will not release his tax returns? What is he hiding? Every other presidential candidate in modern history has released their tax returns. Why won't he? Till he does, we are not going to know whether he has paid his fair share in taxes. We won't know what foreign investments he's made. We won't know whether he's as rich as he claims to be or as charitable. I have some doubts. Meanwhile, his plan is going to give tax breaks to billionaires, or alleged billionaires like himself, which would be just another example of trickle-down economics, which doesn't work. Alternatively, Hillary Clinton wants to make sure that the wealthy pay their fair share and the working class have a fair shot. I know the task ahead is difficult. We all have a lot of work to do, but I know we're stronger together. And by showing up and banding together and working hard, we're going to make sure that Hillary Clinton is the next president of the United States.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you.
You know, and we've not been seeing Sarah as much around the streets of downtown Athens because Sarah's been in Rutledge and Racine and Middleport and Belpre, and she's working her heart out, going around the district and going door to door and campaigning every day. And thank you for what you're doing.
It was definitely warm along the river in Middleport today.
Speaking of Middleport, we are so pleased to have Charlie Williams, the county chair of Meigs County, with us today. Charlie, thank you for being here. Nick Rupert, where are you? The county chair of Vinton County. Thank you for being here. This is a multi-county event, so thank you. Lou Gentile, who's our state senator, could not be here today, which is unusual because Lou is here all the time. And his opponent is not. In fact, his opponent said to our newspaper that he didn't even want to talk to him because we're not his people. We're not his people. Right? He's not our people. He is not our people. You know, he's not been here. I don't even know what the hell his name is, but he is not our people. Lou has been here all the time, and we're so fortunate to have him as our state senator. And he's working hard. He's got a huge district, and he's out there working every day. Eric Fisher is here from his campaign. Talk to this guy right here. Debbie Phillips has agreed to run for the state school board. Debbie understands that privatization of education is killing our public schools, and she intends to stop it. Debbie, thank you for what you're doing.
It's great to see so many folks here and enthusiastic about the election. We know how important Athens County is in terms of how Ohio goes and how important Ohio is in terms of how the nation goes. So this much energy and enthusiasm this early in the campaign is just fantastic. Many of you know that I've worked for a long time on working for fair school funding for our kids here in Ohio and have continued to be a champion for public education in the legislature. It's obviously been a very challenging environment. I had the great pleasure of getting to work with Governor Strickland on the evidence-based model where we had a real chance to get some things done, but unfortunately that was repealed by his successor, so we're still kind of back at it and continuing to fight for our kids. One area where we've begun to make some progress is with charter school accountability, and that we were, even in this climate, able to get some bipartisan legislation passed. It's not perfect, but it is starting to move in the right direction so we can have some accountability for how our tax dollars are spent. That's one of the main reasons that I did decide to go ahead and run for the State Board of Education, because I want to stay involved. I want to make sure that as the rules are put in place to implement that legislation, it's not watered down. I want to make sure that as we move forward with implementing the Every Student Succeeds Act, which is the new federal rules, that we're able to try to rein in some of the excessive testing that's been going on in education and have more respect for local control in our local schools. So I'm really looking forward to this. It's going to be a very different kind of campaign in a much bigger territory. It includes Canton and Youngstown, so I'm going to be putting a few miles on my car and trying to meet some new people. But really appreciate all your support over the years and hope you'll help get the word out about the importance of the State Board of Education. So, thank you.
And we have another great Democratic candidate with us today, Valerie Gerlach. Where's Valerie? Valerie's running for the 4th District Court of Appeals. She's from Portsmouth. Her father was the former mayor of Portsmouth. It's a really strong Democratic family name in that area, and she's really working hard to be our next district court judge for the 4th District Court of Appeals. So Valerie, thank you out there. Like you, I've been following the U.S. Senate race closely, and I don't know if you all caught today that Rob Portman talked about how he trusts Donald Trump with nuclear weapons. What an idiot. It's fairly unbelievable to watch how Rob Portman twists himself into a pretzel, trying to pretend like he's a moderate that he's not, and trying to support Donald Trump and still appease all of the right-wing constituencies and the billionaires that he's been representing for years in the Senate. His constituents are not in this room. His constituents are in K Street and Wall Street, and he's not for us. He's for them, and we need to remember that. And Frances Strickland has been here. She's like family to us. And she's like family to me. I really appreciate you coming down for the 2nd Athens County office opening that you've been here for this year.
You know, they're picking on my guy and Hillary every chance they get. So we are just not going to let them get by with it, are we? I think when I come to Athens, I really think of Ted and Hillary together. They've been here together so much. So I kind of feel like it's just natural that we're talking about both of them. Did you get a chance to hang up the picture with Hillary in the OU jacket?
That was going to be a surprise.
You know, I ruined surprises as a kid, too. I want to tell you, I don't know if you paid any attention to that poll that came out by the Quinnipiac people, but they're very suspect. They do this kind of stuff all the time. Just think about it. At this stage of the game, here in the middle of August, whose position would you rather be in? Ted's or Portman's?
Ted's.
Absolutely. It reminds me of 1992. How many of you helped us elect Ted in 1992? He was running against McEwen, a 12-year incumbent who was outspending him 4-1. We didn't even have a communications person until September. I remember George Rakes came in after Labor Day. The DCCC wasn't even paying any attention to Ted's race because they didn't think that he could win. And we got this poll somewhere in August, and it was really bleak on the horse race, which is the first numbers that you get. And I think Ted was down like 17 points or something like that. Made him sick at his stomach, as I recall. And while he was looking at the horse race, I was reading the rest of the thing. And it became very clear that the people really didn't like McEwen that much. You know, that was bouncing the checks. Remember all that, the bank stuff? They liked Ted, but they just didn't know anything about him. And once they did learn about him, they just moved to him in droves. The answer was simple. All we had to do was to get the message out about him. Fortunately, George was a little pit bull. I mean, he was just everywhere. If you remember this campaign, getting earned media. But what happened is the people, once we put the word out to you all and the other counties that it was in the people's hands, you took it over. You know, you were in the parades with the signs. Labor people were wearing Ted sticker on their hard hats, showing up at the debates, sitting there watching the debates in their hard hats, walking along the parade, yelling "Bouncing Bob" to, I mean, just all over this thing. Being outspent, I think McEwen spent about $2.5 million. Ted spent $242,000 and won that race. Ted is in much, much better position now. He can't be more by any of the estimates we've seen other than that one, than 5 points down. And with likely voters, he's only like 3 points down.
To $37 million spent against him.
Yeah. And 80% of that, 35 million, was all negative on Ted. Does this surprise you, or did you see some of those ads? I got to ask you, how many of you are in love with the Segway ad, where the little guy's riding his Segway?
Yeah, I saw that.
So most of the people I've seen in Southern Ohio don't get, I mean, they don't get that little guy riding around on that thing, and it's, I just love it when somebody starts talking about that. But up north, they seem to just really love it. But one thing you got to say is it drew attention to the ads, and that's the point of it. So I feel like that Ted's race is in your hands. It's in the hands of the people, and what better hands could it be than the Athens County Democrats? We're not going to let them mess over Hillary like they're trying to do, and gosh, I just can't even imagine what's ahead that we're going to be seeing about her. I don't care what they say, nothing is going to change us from the person that we know, because she has been here. She's been here more than Lou's appointed has by far, hasn't she? There was an article that I read the other day that said that the only thing that will keep the Democrats from winning is if they're silent. So a lot of us don't like to talk to these people that are popping off, and they're harsh in what they say and intimidating. But we need to find a way to gently take up for our people. And if you have any doubts on some things you can say about Ted, well, I put them in a song. You can sing this to yourself. But as John said, Ted has always been a working people's person. We lived a middle-class lifestyle. And I think one of the reasons he doesn't have all the money that Portman does is he was never really friends with really wealthy people. He didn't hang out on K Street with all of those lobbyists. Portman has all those people, but Ted, again, has you all. The people can really beat that money, and that's what this song's about. Ted served us well as governor, and now he's going to be our senator. He says he's tired of millionaires going to Congress just to help billionaires. We say give us Strickland and we can't lose. Don't want Portman and the middle class blues. You know, whenever Ted takes a stand, he just wants the little guy to have a chance. This middle class squeeze is causing stress, where workers do more and get less and less. We're not buying that Wall Street spin. We're voting for Strickland and fairness again. We say give us Strickland and we can't lose. Vote away these middle class blues. If you want to be a big old drum, hang out with the Donald Trump. I knew the poets in the group knew what was coming there. I have another little Trump verse. You want to hear that one? Trump thinks he's tough and oh so handsome. trying to act like the mighty Samson. But just like Samson, he'll get nowhere. When I get my scissors into that hair. It's refreshing to be with all these people who know their Bible. Maybe we better get back to Ted now. Ted's the one that we all love. Now it's clear he's the comeback of Willie Portman in a cloud of smoke. He has big money, but money can't vote. Yeah. They give us Strickland and we can't lose. Limbaugh's sinking and we're tired of Fox News. A man of the people, Ted's a shining star. And his wife backs him up on her rhythm guitar. Yes, Willie Portman in a cloud of dust. Okay, see if you can sing the last word with me on this. He has big money, but Ted has us. So the other piece, besides Ted being for the middle class and reminding people that he took those rescue dollars, the stimulus dollars from the Obama administration and saved the automobile industry. And remember, if the Republicans had been in, they wouldn't have taken that money, and we'd be like Kansas today if Ted hadn't been the governor.
And he built the Nelsonville bypass.
And the Nelsonville. It happened. And so the other piece of it is then what I was talking about, the millionaires, but Ted being a person that we can connect with and his humble beginnings. Have you seen the ad now that Ted has running pro himself? Yeah. So what do you think of that ad?
I like it.
Good. Powerful. So it's got the bio in the beginning as well as some of the positions. I reprised the 2006 Davy Crockett song just so we can remind people of Ted's bio. Born up a dirt road they called Duck Run, the eighth of 9 children, Ted had lots of fun. He had 4 older brothers who always stood ready to take out any kid that picked on little Teddy. He got his learning in a one-room school. He did pretty well as a general rule, but he talked a lot, and his teacher said if he didn't hearken to her, she'd stick his little finger in a pencil sharpener. You talk about poetry now, that was tough to come up with. Ted became a preacher and a children's home director, a psychologist and a college professor. He won a seat in Congress in 1992, and 14 years later became our governor too. Get ready, here's the good one. He married a woman from down in Kentucky. By all accounts, he seems pretty lucky. Everybody laughs, but what do you know that rhymes with Tucky? We don't know much about the way she looks, but she won't poison Ted because she never cooks. Now he's going to be our senator. He's trained for the job, that's for sure. And if you're willing to join the cause, you can show it now with your thunderous applause.
I've heard that song before, but I always get a little cheery. So we would have office openings every day, Francis, if you would come back every time you open the office. There's one more thing we need to do. So Emma is from Athens, and Emma is the most committed young woman that you're ever going to meet in your life. She is supposed to be at Syracuse University right now, but she decided not to go back because she wants to get Hillary Clinton, Ted Strickland, Sarah Grace, and Lou Gentile over the finish line. So thank you.
Said, I'm Emma. I'm one of the organizers here in Athens, and I grew up 3 blocks from here on Ohio Avenue. I went to East Elementary, and I remember when I was in 4th grade was the 2004 election, and we had a mock election. Every class filled out their ballots, and I voted for John Kerry, and they counted the ballots, and at East Elementary, John Kerry won. And I went to a watch party with my childhood best friend and her mom that night. And when I found out that George Bush won, I was so upset. I didn't understand what had happened, what had gone wrong, why my person didn't win, and I don't want to feel that way again. I want to know that I did everything I could this time in 2016 to get my candidates across the finish line, and on November 8th, I'm standing here with all of you, and we've won. We did it. We got them elected, and that's going to start by volunteering. I know that volunteering can seem daunting. It's a lot of work, but we can't do it without you. Every person in this room is a potential volunteer. Sarah goes out and knocks every weekend. She doesn't have people do it just for her. She goes out and she talks about the candidates just like she did here. I was so inspired listening to her talk about why it's so important to think about every Democrat that you're electing. That's what we're doing in this office, and that's what we're doing when we volunteer. We have these beautiful calendars. These calendars have a plethora of options. You can knock doors, you can make calls, you can help us enter data. Anything that you do will help us win this election. Bringing food to this office opening and getting these people in the door is going to help us win the election. No contribution is too small or too big. Every little bit counts, and we only have 82 days left to do it. So we're going to pass around these calendars, and what I need of all of you is to circle 2 action shifts that you can help us with, that you can help us get across the finish line and get our candidates into their offices. We all have to work together. It's not one person. It's not just me. It's not just Sarah. We all have to work together if we're going to succeed this time around. We're up against something else this time. And every race, it's not easy. It's not easy for us in 2016, and it takes a village. And Athens County is the best village to be in. Everyone loves each other, everyone supports each other, and we're all going to work together. So I'm going to send these calendars around, and there are some awesome people with clipboards that you can hand them back to, and we have extras if you want to put one on your fridge.
Who can we hand them back to, Emma?
You can hand them back to Danny and Renita and Jana Lee and anyone outside that signed you in, Jennifer, me. And before you start filling out your calendars, I also ask that you all take out your phones. And we're all going to text this number, 47246. You're going to text Ohio to that number. And that's what you can do today to say, I did something for the campaign. It's so easy. Yes, 47246. Text Ohio to that number, and that's your contribution for the day. You've already made a difference in this election by texting this number and signing up for these shifts.
Say it again.
47246.
Is that like a $25 donation?
So we know that you're committed. 47246. So who's excited to win this election? Who's excited to volunteer? Who's excited to eat more of the awesome food you all brought? Yeah, just text Ohio to 47246.
Well, thank you all for volunteering. Thank you for helping deliver victory. Appreciate it.
Yeah, what about the picture, John?
That's coming later.
Oh, that's coming later. Background. Okay.
I think we're pretty
We have 55 and over. We have up to 12 years old, 13 to 18 years old, and then 19 to 54 years old. Those will be the 4 different categories. Each participant will have 4 minutes. They will play a waltz and a hoedown. We tally the winners for each age category. We will have a championship round in which they will play 3 tunes, a waltz, a hoedown, and a song of choice. Thank you.